Question 1504. What's the funniest thing you've seen someone do that you weren't allowed to laugh at?
Instantly or eventually? Because there was this exploding ball thing.
That is the perfect sort of example.
I don't think Jade has a clue what we're talking about. Dave's ball exploded midstream and he vanished off camera. He doesn't sit on a chair. He sits on like a yoga ball, and that's why he bounces, and he bounced and he vanished because it exploded.
Let me see if I can imitate the sound. Just a second. So we're all watching the stream, and we just hear. Ah!
Right, Jenny, check the private chat. I'll put the name of that painting in there.
Oh, okay. I can't do that right now.
Okay.
But I will.
Manda says Dave falling off his ball. Yeah, but the difference there is you laughed. Tusk says, I have a story that makes me laugh like a drain, but it was so bad at the time. What? Sarah says, I can't think of anything. I did laugh at Dave falling. Well, this is great. You can't. It doesn't count if you. It doesn't count if you weren't there. Because that's the only point at which you weren't allowed to laugh.
Can I just point out I was there?
Yes.
Can I just point that out?
I think I should exclude this from the thing so you can have other answers.
I saw you there, Jeff, doing that. I'm going to try to be the moral center of this group.
It didn't last, did it?
Mel.
Oh God, there's a couple of those. I don't know which one I want to go with. Let's see. I'll go with this one. I was teaching high school biology to a bunch of, high schoolers out here in the sticks. And I was talking about, I can't remember. I think we were talking about meiosis or something like that. And I'm just walking around and I was always asking my students questions. And I asked a question and some kid from the back of the classroom goes, anal! Just really loud for no particular reason. He just screams out anal, like anal sex. And I'm standing there and I'm like, I don't know why, but it was freaking hilarious, but I didn't laugh. And so I took him out in the hallway, called an administrator and stuff like that. I had some concerns about this student anyway. He tried to act anyway. I won't get into all that, but I thought that was pretty funny. Like just randomly for no particular reason, screaming out anal in the middle of a class. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know if it's that.
And hear it all the time.
Just screaming out anal. Either that or the time I've been married before. And when I'm sitting in the divorce court, I was laughing so loud in the back while my ex was sitting there. And he looks like he was going to puke because he had to sit up there and answer all these questions and stuff. And I'm sitting in the back with my mom and I'm just crying with laughter. And she's like, why are you laughing? I'm like,
Right.
so guess
who got the better end of that set divorce settlement?
I'm like, bye. But oh my God. Yeah, so I don't know which one. Both of those just kind of ran in my head.
If I'm not allowed to have Dave falling off the ball, which we've established we're not.
Yeah.
I don't know. This was when I was at school. I don't know what this always sort of sticks out. But we were doing a test. So the whole rules of the test, total silence kind of thing. Whilst doing the test, and then from the thing was though that you could very much hear quite clearly if something was said loudly in the classroom next door, it would quite easily carry through. And from what I gathered from what I could gather reading into the situation, that one of the other the kids in the classroom next door, I think, had something confiscated by this female teacher, in which he was attempting to steal back, is what I think was happening. But all I really know for sure is I was in the middle of the room doing a test where we were in total silence, and then you just hear in the next room this young female teacher saying, "Scott, get out of my drawers." I'm sorry, I laughed my ass off.
Mark says, my parents doing stupid things when I was young. Ox says, my dog, the first time it was on the dock by the water, took off running right off the end of the dock and kept running till it hit the water. The dog would even go on the dock after that. Jess says, so many things. I always laugh when people get hurt. I can't control it. Sarah says, so on jury duty, the guy was talking about how women change when they get the D. I wanted to laugh at how stupid it was. I hear it's not good to laugh during a murder trial. No. You would. Dawnophead says, I know. Every day in Marine boot camp, the drill instructor says the funniest things. Final answer. That wasn't funny. Seraphim said, I did laugh that one of the cops throwing a rock at a statue of a snake since he thought it was real. Fair enough. Jade.
So my daughter is hilarious sometimes, and she says some of the funniest things. And so we were talking one time, and it was me, my husband, my daughter, and my son. And I had a guy, I'd gotten into an argument with a guy on Facebook about COVID not being a hoax. And he called me a pussy. And so I was telling my husband this story, and I wasn't really thinking about it. And all of a sudden, she was, I think, 8 at the time. My daughter looks at me and goes, Mom, what's a pussy? And we didn't really know how to answer that. So.
It's a muff.
So that was a fun one.
Yes, I think mine. If I have to go, I'm gonna have to go with the daughter when she must have been about 7, and we were walking round the coast of Wales, and she went over in the mud, and came back up, coated from head to toe, looking dead serious. And all we know she's not hurt, and we're just stood there trying not to burst out laughing. Robbie,
we're not allowed to use the ball.
No, leave my balls alone.
It's funny enough, today at work, I was given something by the owner that specifically had to be done, and the drill bit broke twice on me. So I went and got the guy training me, and he was all, no, that's fine. And he came in and he broke the drill bits in the actual fucking thing. So we then had to go and tell the fucking boss that it had fucked up, and we had to go and get 2 new pieces as well. And the second time he broke a drill bit in it, I had to walk away and go outside because I was in stitches laughing. It was just, I'll do it, it's fine, I'll do it. Fucked it up 3 times, shit, now I have to go tell the boss.
There is nothing worse than breaking a drill bit off in the work. Yeah. God damn. It just fucks everything up forever.
Yes, everything.
Well, looks like I need all new materials now.
Badger.
Yeah, I missed the unmute button. So, there was this one time at a funeral. I was sitting. It was at a little churchy chapely place. I was sitting in the pews, surrounded by a load of people I didn't know, because I was at this funeral. I sort of vaguely knew the person who it was for, but not that well. But I knew the people who were quite close with this person and knew this person through them. So I was there at this funeral, and they had this. It was No, it was at the chapely bit of a crematorium, I think. Now they had a coffin, presumably with the person in it, on little rolly doos that would roll the person into, out of view, into where they did the rest of the proceedings. And the guy officiating the ceremony, the vicar, I believe, was standing at the front, and he was going through all the usual things they say. And he said something along the lines of, "May the grace of God enfold you."
What?
And as he said the word enfold, the curtains closed around the coffin on like an electric runner.
Yeah.
And I was I was sitting there in the pews. He says enfold, and the curtains start moving. I'm like,
Oh,
that's a good outlet. So I'm there trying to pretend to be very upset and emotional at this funeral while I'm like,
oh my goodness.
yeah, so that's what did it for me.
That's what did it for you. Jenny.
I've got two possibles, and I can't decide which one is more. I'll do the simple one that requires the least explanation. I was at a local production of Scottish Highland Games, which are always fun to go watch. And there was all the macho guys who were doing that thing where they take the telephone pole and they throw it.
Oh yes.
Which I just think is the dumbest thing. But they do it anyway.
That caber tossing, right?
I'm sorry?
Caber toss.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
and this one guy was doing it, and you could tell he was having trouble on his first throw and stuff. That he was like, "Oh, it's this heavy," kind of reaction, and he didn't do very well. But on his second round, he looked like he mastered it much better, and had a better leverage and positioning on the pole, and he just gives it this fling as hard as he possibly could, and the thing goes flying, and he trips. And falls down flat on his face and rolls over. And we learned that some Scottish men do not wear underwear.
A lot don't.
And nobody laughed. Everybody just was so shocked. And I was the only one who laughed.
Did you scream out penis in point?
No, but I was poking at him when I was laughing, so I think it shrunk like 2 sizes.
That's the penis.
Right, David Melbourne says, at my grandfather's funeral, when people were saying, "Oh, Ed looks so good," my mum had had enough of hearing it and says, "He doesn't look good. He's fucking dead."
Outstanding.
Tusk DM'd me on in Discord because his message is long. I was walking past the local church one day and there was a guy in a wheelchair outside. He only has the use of one arm. A cat came over and he bent down to pet it. But he went down too far and his chair started to tip over. He had to put his good arm down to stop himself falling on his face. But the chair kept rolling and he was doing a sort of backwards hand hop, shouting for help. He put his hand into a great big dog shit. All the time the cat was rubbing itself up against him and purring. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But when people from the church came out to help, they didn't agree.
Oh, Lord.
Laughing at my expense, I told you this story, Dave, whenever it happened. If you remember, whenever I used to work in Lurgan, and they had the slant outside the front of the building, and we would roll the tires down to the bottom of the yard, and we would stack them. And as I headed the roll, it veered off and went to go towards the fucking the manager's car. So I ran to try and stop it, and as I ran downhill and hit my face and slid down the fucking hill. Yeah, they all laughed at me. Yeah, still hit the car with a tire.
I had this one experience. We were at a driving school, and that's where we take a bunch of amateurs who've never been on a racetrack before and check out their cars, make sure they're safe, and send them out on the track with an instructor to teach them how to drive too damn fast. And there was this guy there who was just this big fucking egotist. that, you know, oh, I don't need this. This is just a bunch of stupid lessons. Just let me out there and drive. I know how to do this. Well, he was atrocious, which is usually what happens. And so a few hours into the day, this guy comes around turn 14, slides out off track. I had to bump over some rumble strips that were there. Gets his two outside wheels caught in the gravel and rolls over. And on his way over, he apparently thought he could prevent the problem by sticking his arm out to catch the car. It absolutely shattered his arm, his shoulder, his collarbone. It was just the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody do. Yeah, I'll stop the car from rolling over. And I couldn't help but just laugh my ass off. I was like, jeez, dude.
Oh, that's terrible. Right.
He had advanced medical help there. You know,
well, you have to hope so.
Yeah. Cold.
I've actually thought of another one from my school days that was hilarious. I shouldn't have laughed at it because it was a very, very vicious prank that the kid could have got hurt doing. One time, but we had this little bit of with woodland thing on our school grounds at the one end of it, and there was a stream running through it. And so, anyway, there's this. We had to do a little bit of should we say, conservation work out there one time. And there's one of this tree that was sort of like one that was sort of hanging out over the stream. Now picture this: there's a very big branch going out over the stream, and one of the kids got up on there and was out there over the stream and was soaring off like the small branches, only for someone else, whilst he was doing that, to start soaring the big branch that he was balancing on. And you knew what was going to happen, and I shouldn't laugh because the guy could have got seriously hurt. But it was so funny when he's hanging out there, like soaring off these little branches, and someone behind him is like soaring off the great big branch he's balancing on, and it's like timber, and lands in the stream and everything.
Oh Lord,
that's perfect.
Outstanding.
I have another one before we move on. Then, my dad has Alsatians, and he was stood there with them on a lead. He was just holding it down by his side. They're just milling around because he'd stopped to talk to someone when he was walking them. And I walked up, and the dogs spotted me. So both dogs ran as fast as they could towards me. But my dad hadn't noticed. He literally took off. When they reached the end, he was just dragged and took off about 3 foot in the air as they ran. He was really pissed off. I was creased over, trying not to. If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.